Hey guys, I'm doing a camper conversion on this E350 club wagon, and this ugly contraption right here is the rear HVAC unit. So it has air conditioning and heating for the rear. Originally I actually wanted to try and keep this because I thought it would be cool to have like air conditioning and heat in the back so I could cool or heat up the van a lot quicker. But looking underneath the van, the lines are really rusty, and all those lines are probably going to cost like $2,000 or something from Ford, something stupid. So I'm just gonna get rid of it. It takes up a lot of room anyways, and it's pretty old, and my air conditioning doesn't work, so there might be a leak in that from the front to back here or in the evaporator. But I'm just gonna remove it, and this thing's like 3 or 4 times bigger than a diesel heater. It's gonna be way more efficient using a diesel instead of running the big 460 engine. But those rusty lines for the coolant especially are a huge liability. Just when I was replacing the tank, I was leaning on those lines a little bit. I started feeling my back get wet. And just that little bit of movement cracked that rusty part of that line, and it started leaking like crazy. I just moved it some more and just tried to leak it all out. Be sure to like collect it in some kind of catch container or bucket and dispose of it properly. But anyways, let's go ahead and delete this entire system. Be sure to wear some eye protection because we're gonna need it. But let's go ahead and get started. This should be pretty fun. Since it's all leaked out, I went ahead and removed the doghouse, and I'm gonna show you guys how to bypass the rear heater. Probably don't have to drain any of it, but if you want to, you could, cut one of the lines in the back, or just remove one of the fittings back there and let it drain into a bucket. I went ahead and placed my drain bucket down below just in case we have any that comes out. I just got a fender cover and a towel just in case we have any that leaks out. Ain't nobody got time for these little clip things. Let's use some bolt cutters. Oh, they just barely fit on there. I heard some noise in the front heater core up here. It was like letting some air in. Let that drip down. From here, both of those hoses just go near the front, and there's just 2 hose clamps holding them onto metal lines. Real quick, I'll just get this zip tie that's holding them together. And I'm just gonna be replacing them with a little loop-de-loop coolant hose from Gates. But also, if you want to keep your lines and they are pretty rusty, it's probably not a bad idea to get one of these and throw in your little toolkit just in case you're out somewhere and it started leaking. You could bypass it without too much trouble. Another thing you could do is just cut one of these lines, take one off, and then loop it around. That should work as well. Pull these clamps off. Yeah, got one. We'll use a razor blade, kind of split it. Try not to go all the way to the metal if you can help it. All right, there we go. All right, there we go. Got this guy up there. It's almost the exact same size. The old one is going to be a little deformed and looks slightly bigger, but should work just fine. So that one on the right wants to touch the top. It's going to be hard to put that hose on, so I just got a plastic trim tool behind here. Shove in just to kind of lower that down, make it easier to slide on. And as you can tell, it's got a little stop so you know when it's on far enough. And I'll just use a little bit of silicone spray, and this will make it easier to slide on. Looks like it should fit pretty well. And this should just slide on fairly easily. Oh, there we go. It's easier than I thought. And the rear heater is now officially bypassed. Now I'll just start it up and check for leaks. Alright, let's just start here at the back, and I got a catch can just in case some more stuff comes out. So these are the AC lines right here, and these are the heater core lines. I have no interest whatsoever trying to preserve any of this stuff, so that's probably good. So I just want to make this clear: before you disconnect or cut any of the air conditioning lines, you want to make sure all of the refrigerant is out of there. Not only is it like bad for the environment if you vent that stuff to atmosphere, it can actually give you frostbite if the air conditioning system is full. And if you don't have safety glasses on, it could actually freeze your eyeball and you could go blind. So just keep that in mind. There is a little bit of a vacuum on this system, so it's just gonna draw stuff in. You can hear that vacuum. That was the high side. This is the low side. Unplug that, and then this appears to be a vacuum line, which actually travels through the vehicle somewhere. So when you disconnect this, you're probably gonna wanna cap it, and at some point I'm just gonna figure out where it goes to up there, or else your front air conditioning and heater might not work. I'm not super familiar with vacuum controlled systems, but it has something to do with the air flap that opens and closes. It looks like we got a couple of 10 millimeters. And it should just pull out of here. Ah, easy peasy. For now, I'll just use a little bit of electrical tape to cover up this vacuum hose. All right, now let's continue on to these lines. Remove this little clip. Now let's start cutting these lines out. There we go. Like butter. Oh. It's completely pointless. Okay. That's a lot of PAG oil. Oh, it's good. There we go. Hopefully we can remove this rear section. We got a 10 millimeter right here holding this bracket. Pop these out. There we go. There's just a bunch of these holding all the lines. Basically just wood screws into the metal because Ford is classy. That is not a 10 right there. 12 millimeter. I can't tell what's AC oil and what's coolant because it's kind of the same color. I have to move this parking brake cable. Oh, there we go. Hopefully we can finagle this out of here. Oh, I'm gonna go that way. There we go. Let me just do one line at a time. So much easier just ripping everything out of here versus trying to actually like replace it. How's that feel, lines? Take that line. You're the worst line. Rear section is out. Man, this is going quicker than I thought. So I probably should have done this when I had the fuel tank out, but I think we can get it. I ain't got time for tripping. Getting violent. Whatever you do, don't accidentally cut these fuel lines. That would be really bad. Flip-a-doo. There we go. And we should be able to pull all these rear lines out maybe, if we're lucky. Oh, hello. Come on out there, fella. Got it all. Okay, there we go. Got them all out. All right, one last mount. Okay, rear heater is now officially deleted. Everything's gone. Now we just have to worry about these last two AC lines. And go ahead and unclip this guy. Save that, so we might need it in a little bit. And now we just have to disconnect these Ford air conditioning quick disconnects. We'll pull these safety clips off. Oh, there we go. Next, I'll just spray it down with some mass airflow sensor cleaner because they don't have AC line next to disconnect cleaner. And this is just to get any dirt around those disconnects so it doesn't fall into the AC lines, because I want to try to keep it as clean as possible inside there. So this one looks like a little bit bigger than the evaporator line, so I'm going to try 7/8. I'll try this big plastic one out of my master set. Definitely a challenge to work in here. Alright, yeah, make sure they're pushed together. Come on. Alright, I'm gonna try this spring loaded one here. Oh, whoa. Yes, this is the one. There we go. Alright, hopefully the bottom one is 1/2. There we go. So now we got to get these O-rings off, and I just have a plastic razor blade that I cut up. You don't want to use anything metal because it might scratch up those sealing surfaces. Clean these off really good with a lint-free towel. So the next step is to block off the air conditioning so we can refill it with refrigerant and get it blowing nice and cold. I got these rare AC block off caps on eBay, and there's this guy in the United States actually that makes these from a single block of aluminum. Comes with new O-rings, built to Ford's specification, only like 38 bucks. However, they could go up in price as time goes on, so just keep that in mind. So I got a little bit of PAG oil. I'll go ahead and throw all the O-rings in here just to give them a nice coating of PAG oil so they slide in nicely. All right, let's just make sure these are the right size. Perfect. And then the smaller one, perfect as well. I'm gonna throw a fresh pair of gloves on. Real clean. We'll start with the small one. Coat them with a little bit of PAG oil on the inside if I can. And then we'll, there we go. Get clipped. Ah, there we go. Make sure to give them a tug, see if they'll come off or not. And there we go. You can see the springs look like they're sitting in there properly. Install the safety clips. And this air conditioning system is ready to be recharged, except we'll have to recharge it to the non-rear air conditioning spec, which will be a lot lower. They kind of move around quite a bit, so I'm gonna see if I can fit one of these clips on here. There we go. Then that way they're not touching. All right, I got it zip tied up there on the dipstick tube, and they're clipped together. That's just to keep it from moving around too much. But now we can pull a vacuum on it and fill it up with refrigerant. I pulled the vacuum and it passed the leak test just fine. Then I filled it up with the proper refrigerant, but to the spec for the vans that don't have the rear AC system, and then I just wrote that down on the trim under the hood so I won't forget. And now the AC blows ice cold, maybe a little too cold, and I'll have to get a new orifice tube so the evaporator won't freeze up. But anyways guys, I hope you enjoyed this video, and thanks for watching, and I will see you next time. Peace out.